I mean, you couldn't make up a more nightmare scenario. Imagine these control freak nobodies who've never had a business, never done anything in their lives. They just go get a uniform, they get a little tattletale phone, a lot of them will get guns, tasers, just running around, and they want your houses, they want your property. They're greedy, low-down little scumbag bastards. They hate the middle class. They're going to turn loose the bureaucrat, bloodsucker, parasite class on the people. Armored trucks pulling up, led by little commie brigades. Oh, it makes me sick. And, folks, everything I've told you has come true so far. I mean, are you ready for the rest to come true? Or are we going to just go absolutely ape in the info war and defeat these bastards? Because what they're doing is so over the top. If we just point out what these bastards are doing, there's no way they're going to get away with it.
Buy a handgun in America.
I'll play that again. I'll play that again. Listen.
One issue as a test vote and then take it into the election. That is, if you are on the no-fly list because you are known as maybe a possible terrorist, you cannot buy a handgun in America. And I am not one far from liking the mixing of politics and policy, but as my old boss used to say, give me that vote and throw me into that briar patch. I'll make politics out of that every day, because if it's between that terrorist list and the NRA, I know where America is going to be every time, and they're going to make the right choice, and we have got to start building on that. That is the right thing to take into the election, and it's the right policy. That if you're on that no-fly list, your access to the right to bear arms is canceled because you're not part of
your access. See, they control the access to the right to keep and bear arms, and controlling the access means turning it into a privilege. And they've introduced the bill where they say you've got a psychological problem. And remember the guy during the vice presidential debates who was a CNN YouTube reporter, and he holds up his AR-15 in the video and says, Vice presidential Democratic candidates, will you take my gun away? And Biden just stands back in awe and says, you're mentally ill. No, I will take your gun. And the crowd of little communists goes, yes, I'll get it. Then we can suck everything out of them because we're lazy pieces of crap. Oh, yes. Oh, gosh, just let us have their guns. Oh, we're degenerate parasites. Oh. And they're coming. They're coming. He tried to introduce this and failed. Now he is the president.
The American family. You don't deserve that right. There is no right for you if you're on that terrorist list. That should be number one in what we do. Make sure there's a full force of the law behind the Brady Bill. So to all those who dedicate their lives to seeing...
So you heard that. The Brady Bill, the instant check, which is the instant registration as a gun owner with your address and what you got and where you're at. How many guns you got. They're going to integrate all those lists, all those databases, put your psychological records on there. They're already doing it to the troops. And these troops get home after disarming the Iraqis, and they can't own guns anymore, and they call me up crying, hey, listen, buddy, you're a chump, okay? The battle for the Republic's going on here. It isn't over there killing 1,300,000 Iraqis. I don't care how many two doors down propaganda, American warrior propaganda pieces they show at movie theaters. The military isn't our military anymore. And they're going to say, are you for the military or are you for the terrorists that own guns? I stand with the Second Amendment, not with our hijacked military. I don't want to hear it. They use all this phony patriotism to gut our country. We're already in the North American Union. That's high treason. Serving this criminal government means you lose your pension funds, your Second Amendment. You lose everything. And they could steal all our money. Liberty would let us build it back, as Ron Paul has said. But if they take the liberty, folks, we're conquered. And there is no quarter these people are going to give us.
Sensible gun laws. Remember, it's sensible gun laws, police on the beat, giving our kids an alternative to that street, and making sure that we have the drug laws so people, because those are the type of people who are most access to most violent types of crimes. Once the COPS program ended, once we let those gun laws bans expire, a 40% increase in homicide rate, a 35% increase in violent crimes.
Total lie. That's not true. Crime rates from the 1990s dropped. precipitously, mainly because of concealed carry, which turns a right into a privilege, but it put guns out on the streets. But it created the idea of everybody who was able to have a gun being licensed when it was something you just opted into. And now, because the economy's been imploding for at least 4 years, some violent crime has gone up and robberies have gone up because we know that when the economy falls apart, crime goes up. But the highest increases in the numbers he's quoting are from New York and Chicago and L.A., and most of it is the Mexican Mafia and MS-13 killing each other when he uses those numbers. And MS-13 targeting blacks and killing blacks, which is now even mainstream news. To become a made member of those groups, you got to go kill a black man. Because those groups really hate each other. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the score. That is what is being dealt with. And he's calling it reasonable to not have a Second Amendment right if they, and no one will, it's secret how they put you on the list, no judge, no jury, no arrest, no indictment, no facing your accusers. They just say, and by 2007, it was 700,000 plus people with 20 plus thousand added every month. And now it's over 1 million people on the list and growing. Over 1 million people. Over 1 million people. And federal marshals last year in the Denver Post came out, senior ones, and said, look, there are no terrorists out here. We're ordered at the airport. Let us tell you how you get on a no-fly list one way. And you can go pull up the Denver Post article. They said, if you take a picture of your children while you're in the gate, or if you take a picture out the window, you are put on a terror list for life. That's just one way. Or you don't pay income taxes, you're put on the list. This is harassment. This is like going to your door of your apartment and you haven't paid, so there's a big lock on it. Or going to your car and there's a boot on it because you haven't, paid. But this is your Second Amendment right. Oh, you haven't paid the offshore bankers. And it came out again. Every person he's proposing, every person for his cabinet or sub-cabinet doesn't pay income taxes. 65+%, that was in the news years ago, of Congress, doesn't and it never pays them. They just don't pay. It's not, they're criminals. They don't follow their own stinking laws. And so under Know Your Customer, under Patriot Act compliance, when you buy a used car, when you rent a car, when you get a hotel room, when you get a $500 loan at one of these check cashing places, when you cash a check, when you get a bank account, when you deposit checks, it's all instantly uploaded to the government. Everything is watched, and it isn't even a government. It's a criminal group that's using the government as its apparatus of control. I'm going to get more into this with Mike Rivero coming up. But this is it. Isn't a game, isn't a drill. This is the big one. And they are coming at us from every single side. They are rabid anti-Second Amendment, anti-self-defense. They are coming. They are going to use the military against you. They have built FEMA camps. They are bankrupt. And we've got to stand up in one voice and say, we know you're dirtbag criminals. Coming up next hour, too, Obama did what I told you he'd do. He's come out and he wants bailout, too. But, of course, they're saying that will be secret. And the Federal Reserve testified last week in Congress and said, we won't tell you where the trillions have gone to congressmen. And now they want not trillions more because they've already got that passed where they can steal whatever they want and it's secret. This new one is to move the Federal Reserve offshore, and you'll pay your taxes to a completely private offshore group and pay new carbon taxes to them. And a bunch of out-of-work gangbangers are all filling up the military now. Oh, heaven help us. Just heaven help us.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold for your IRA? The financial industry refuses to recognize the value of real hard assets for your retirement. The truth be told, gold and silver has outperformed paper investments like stocks, bonds, and CDs, yet no word about IRAs. Perhaps the financial institutions want to maintain control of your assets by keeping you in paper. If you'd like to take a look at gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low return on your paper investments. Call 800-686-2237. Make sure that you secure your future. Call 800-686-2237. That's 1-800-686-2237.